Normally I don't talk about these chapters anymore because I don't consider myself a reviewer anymore. I only review one manga because, well, I reviewed the first chapter of that manga, and I wanted to keep removing it until I lose the account, lose the credibility, can improve it in different manner, or it's just series end. Therefore, I don't consider myself a reviewer anymore. It's just, however, that this chapter must be talked about because the negativity of this chapter has been so much that I'm honestly upset. I am more upset on the people that have read this chapter than on the chapter itself. This chapter was exactly what I wanted. But no! A lot of people have bashed this chapter. And do you know what they've said? They have called it boring, bad. Everything is just so weird. Everything does not make sense. And I'm just clawing my eyes out saying, oh, they are all loving heroes. Aoyama is not the true villain in all this. He was just a cog. All for One was the one that pulled the trigger. Not Aoyama. He was not responsible for the USAG. He was not responsible for All Might's retirement. Nor the attack on the woods. The one who was responsible for that was All for One, who manipulated him. How is that so hard to understand? Moreover to that, the fact that a lot of people felt that the Class A were too forgiving. They wanted more conflict. And I'm just saying, why do you want more conflict? It doesn't have anything to do with reality. This is exactly why they are heroes. They are looking at the bigger picture, unlike all of you. Because yes, this is the Black Clover. Boku no Hero chapter 338. I'm not going to review Black Clover because that is nothing but despair right now. In these last chapters, which I haven't reviewed yet, it turns out that it was not Invincible Girl who was the traitor. No, it turns out it was Aoyama was the traitor, or more likely an unintentional traitor. The fact that he was given a quirk by All for One and then had been forced to do everything of it all. But Deku, despite feeling very betrayed by his friend, still knows that Aoyama truly just wanted to be saved. He wanted to be a true hero. However, Deku Tsuchiya, who has really become quite a douche, I have to say, is quite insensitive in this manner, makes Aoyama real affairs and saying that he cannot hold his hand because he's in police custody. And the fact that everything he has been doing is still one for all. And the fact that he may not be booby-trapped. But then Deku points out something that when the other realized that no one could really communicate to All for One, the Aoyamas couldn't really communicate to All for One, only Yuga could, then Deku says that they cannot find All for One, but the one who can deceive All for One is Aoyama. And here was what the first of the people complained. They said that does not make sense. All for One has continuously plans. And I'm saying it makes perfect sense. It doesn't matter how many so-called plans All for One has. He will be defeated. When are you going to realize that? And someone who has been defeated will always be blindsided. And what has Aoyama's biggest weaknesses been? Oh, I don't know. Arrogance? Looking down on empathy? All that sort of thing. So being this, besides, he even knows that Aoyama is the disposable pawn. So maybe they can't deceive him. But at least he can tell All for One something that is a lie. And then they can be protected. And even though All for One will kill him, that may be the trigger on how they find him, okay? So the Class A are surprisingly being very forgiving of this all. President Mike also says that. And here's the second thing where people complain about. They, especially when Ida says, that's all in the past. And they said, all in the past? Oh, you kidding? After everything you went through. And I'm just saying, come on, people. Have you even read this manga? Of course it is all in the past. It's called character development! How hard is that to realize? It's character development. Remember, Ida was so vengeful against Stain. He suffered something bad, then he learned from it, and everything else. He's saying that, and they are saying that they feel like it's their fault for not seeing that what Aoyama did. And in a way that is true. None of us knew who the traitor was until it was late. We only theorized. I didn't theorize because I actually didn't believe there was a traitor. Because why would there be a traitor? And now it all makes sense why there was a traitor. The traitor was not a traitor because he wanted to be a traitor, okay? So, that, and they are looking at this in the fact that their classmates is weeping despair, not sociopathy. If Aoyama Yuga was a sociopath, that would be a different thing. But he's not. So he says that they want him to take our hands so they can once again be equal. Of course, Bakugo says that Bakugo is the only one who doesn't feel that way, especially as well. He says, I'll just blast you 5 times in the face and everything will be fine. Granted, that's his personality. I still don't really understand you people. You support Bakugo through all that character development when he hasn't changed one bit! He may have apologized, but he hasn't really changed. And you are not complaining about that a single bit! Just how twisted is the mind thinking of real life people? So the fact that Class A are looking at this from an all-loving hero perspective. So they're saying that but things have changed when you try to put your folks on the end for this bad habit. When we went to grab Mother on the street, did a single one of us quirkless at one point? Because they're also pointing out, I was actually afraid that when Deku revealed he was quirkless and then given a quirk, I actually thought everybody would turn against him. But they didn't. And it's the same here. Aoyama was given a quirk by All For One. Yes, it's incompatible and it has made him a pawn. But why should they just mock him for being quirkless in that scenario? We can still stand stronger. Of course, detective break this up, saying they have to take them into custody. But then the most surprised thing of all appears, and it's Aizawa, Eraserhead, who actually reveals that he has no intention of expelling Yuga. And that, I have to admit, is the biggest surprise of all. Because it really shows just how much the Class A has really influenced him. And it also shows that he is willing of it all. He's also looking at the bigger picture. He would have expelled Aoyama no problem following it all. It even shows that they have had a positive impact on him as well. I mean, I have to admit that is kind of strange. But he is also looking at a scenario. This is not a hero that was a villain. This was a tragic hero who was forced to become a villain but only wanted to be a hero. Aizawa can see that. However, he does, on the other hand, says that he has a new plan. So he covers the ears. So they cover the ears of the Aoyamas as Eraserhead tells the plan. Of course, we do not hear the plan, but everyone has a shocked expression. Granted, it's very likely, even though Eraserhead is saying that he has no intention of expelling Yuga Aoyama, there may be some implication that this plan is dangerous. I think it has something to do with using the bait on All For One. All For One considers them pawns, so yes, I admit that may not work, but they must have some kind of advantage on All For One. He looks down on emotions, and that's the thing they have. So Aoyama is taking away, still with the despairing look of it all. And then we comes to the picture for me I felt was the greatest piece of it all in this chapter, but to everyone else it was nothing. And I'm just still being so extremely pissed about that. Come on, this was the one best picture in the entire chapter. And that's everyone resolving, as they're mentioning that they have to do something about the costumes, especially of it all. As Invisible Girl says, this will work. We have to bring him down. And so, with resolve of pure anger, everyone, well, except Invincible Girl and Deku, as we see in next page, has a resolve of anger saying, yeah. And when I say everyone has that resolve, I do mean everyone. Yes, we don't see her Invincible Girl, but her hands is clenched, so I guess that is a showing of the anger. So when I say that everyone has a face of anger and resolve, I say everyone, including the shy Koda, the stoic Fukuyama, the the masked muscle tentacool. And yes, even Froppi has that face. And that page, oh my god, that page was the best one in this chapter. Because it really shows it is truly personal now, 2 against all for 1. Not just Deku. Everyone is willing to run beside him, and now they all have a motive. Their classmates may have betrayed, yes, their classmate may have betrayed them, but that was only because All for One was using him. So now that classmate has been taken away from them, weeping in despair over the fact what he has been doing. And that has angered them to their core. All for One has used too many lives, and he must be stopped. That is the most badass of it all. And so Deku heads to the development studio where he needs to do some new equipment. And of course, given of it all, it's still a boom, and Hatsume lands. This time, however, her boobs lands right in Deku's face, still being the thunder dunderhead she always is. Only this time, however, Deku is not shocked, or even embarrassed. Hell, he's not even turned on. In fact, he is just, oh, here we go again, type of anger in his face. Just to show how much this has traumatized him, so to speak. Is it possible that he may even say to Hatsume that she needs to get a grip? She really is not a mood swinger. She is only in her own world. Can Deku get her to snap out of her thing of it all? Yes, the big boobs, which we can really see in this picture, really are big, may have landed on Deku's face. But right now, this is not the time to feel such lustful emotions. Because Deku is angry. And when Deku is angry, it's an unsettling situation. In fact, it's more unsettling that he is angry than the entire class is angry. That is more awesome because it just shows the resolve. But when Deku is angry, I'm always worried that he will tray off and not be the Deku he was supposed to be. Like when he became Dark Deku or whatever. So yeah, Hatsume, you really need to get a grip on your situations. So for me, this was an awesome chapter. But to the rest of the world, it was nothing more than trash. Ugh. It sickens me just how much people want. Exactly what did you want from this chapter? And don't say conflict. Don't say reality. And don't say you wanted constructive criticism or something along the line that things that make sense. It is a fictional world. It's not supposed to have reality. And besides, we already have that. Again, how hard is it to understand? You guys not to blame. All for one is! And besides, if he had been outed as a traitor earlier, do you think Class A would have forgiven him? The answer to that is no, they wouldn't have. If he had been outed before or after All for One had fought All Might, then yes, they would not have forgiven him. They would immediately blame him. However, they have been through trauma. They have been through evolution. They have been through quirk evolution. They have been through a war. They have seen other heroes being quitting. They have seen villains breaking hero spirits. And also they have seen people breaking hero spirits. They understand now how easy it is for All for One to break everybody. And they are not going to be breaking. Class A is strong, and they will defeat him. So give me your faults if you have any.